Hey there, I'm back. Welcome to part two. First part, we were talking about the Republican candidates, the incumbent, Donald Trump, which is the current president, and Mike Pence, who's the vice president. So I elaborated, 20 minutes on that side. I mean, there's a lot more I could elaborate on, but I try to keep these videos not too brazenly long. So with that being said, the second part, I'm going to elaborate my final thoughts on the challengers, Joe Biden, and if I get her first name wrong, just correct me. No bad intent. I pronounce it Kamala Harris. Kamala Harris, I think. Kamala. If I'm wrong, just correct me. They represent the Democratic side. Harris comes from California, and Biden, originally from Pennsylvania, Scranton, he represents Delaware. He's a senator from Delaware for 36 years. And I'm trying to elaborate on where the Trump administration keeps coming up with 47 years. So maybe it was 39 years. And I know he was in there for 8 years as VP. So yeah, maybe he was in government for 47 years. So I don't keep up on all the politics, so I apologize if I'm not the expert. This is, like I said, this is just an opinion piece, so just bear with me. But to elaborate, Trump, I elaborated in the first part that about Trump, how his strengths and his weaknesses. He's definitely very aggressive for his age. Got a lot of energy. He's very tough, and he definitely speaks his mind. And even a person like me, if I say bad and it gets across to him, he'll slam you down in that. No apologies. Now, that works well in the business world because you have to be very tough. But the downside to it is it doesn't work with everybody, and not everybody has that temperament to do business. And your average person, they're just getting by. They're workers, they're small business owners. They're not corporate like Trump. They're not billionaires like Trump. So my experience with people is you got to approach people differently. So a certain amount of people you approach a certain way with kindness, and then there's other way you like Trump, you tell it like it is. But you want to kind of have compassion. You want to try to be understanding, more of a listener than a talker. Too many people today are talkers, and that's the trouble with society, is everybody wants their voices to be heard, but when someone opposes their view, they get defensive and then cancel out, So with Biden, what I like about him is he seems very sincere and honest. I mean, I researched that he plagiarized. I do believe that as long as he apologized and he was honest and sincere, I think he's trying to do something good for the country. I think he really has a passion, I think, an honest passion. He's got a solid record. Maybe it's not super stellar like Trump's and Obama's. Sometimes being behind the scenes, like working in the Senate and then as VP, it's not going to be so glorious, you know. But the fact that he knows the procedures, he's worked across the aisle. He's made some mistakes along the way, and he's admitted to it and apologized and tried to correct it. Sometimes being a leader, you have to make mistakes along the way to be a better leader, and I learned that myself a little bit. So what we need, I think, right now is someone that's got compassion and humility, and it's going to be tough. Tough helps, but can be flexible and not about my way or the highway, but compromise a little bit. And really knows what they're talking about. It's not all over the place. Like, you know, problem with Trump, going back to him, is he'll let the doctors talk, and then in recent days he's been ripping on the doctors, and that comes off as desperation. And I don't really want somebody like that for another 4 years, ripping on the experts. You know, if you're going to call somebody out, condemn them, or complain, or criticize. I read a good book by Dale Carnegie, How to Make Friendships and Keep Them. I think it would be a good book for Trump to read. The first chapter goes on, do not complain, do not criticize, and do not condemn people, because you make a lot of enemies. And I think if you read that chapter, him being a businessman, he should know all this stuff, and he doesn't. And Biden's worked with a lot of people. He's worked in government. Right now, things are so disorganized, so divided and polarized that, yeah, maybe you need somebody with experience. As much as I don't care too much for the establishment, after 4 years of Trump and Pence, maybe it's time we go back and get someone with experience. I mean, I'll even take 4 years of Biden if I have to, just so we can get some form of normalcy, we can get the virus under control, and, the racial divisions and everything, and racism, it has to be addressed. At some point, it's going to have to be addressed. It's one thing to say law and order, but I think watching both candidates, I think Joe Biden, will, if he gets elected on Tuesday night or Wednesday or whatever day, he's going to make a good president. And if he doesn't get elected, well, I just have to make the best of it as an American, I mean, I gave Trump 4 years to prove to me wrong that when he became president, he would tone the rhetoric down, and he hasn't. And he's just proven me more and more wrong each time. Just when he wins something, does something right, then he goes back and does something even more to give me more reasons not to vote for him. So I know Joe Biden more better at when he was a vice president. I was kind of skeptical of him being picked as vice president, but then once he proven himself to me, like Obama did, now I realize, the only thing that really that kind of I have an issue with is, and I'll be honest, is his age. And I thought at first, when he, in the primaries, his mental abilities and everything, but I was wrong. He proved me wrong. He really did. And I got friends, some people in my family that are going by Trump's theories that he's sleepy and everything. And well, yeah, he's going to be 78 years old. I mean, and for Trump to go and make fun of Biden because of his age and everything, Trump should look at himself too. You know, he's not far along either. He's actually, Trump is where Biden was 4 years ago. Because Biden's 4 years, a bit, like about 3.5 years older than Trump. Yeah. So my feeling is that where Biden's going to win is his character.